Good evening. The Cypress Fairbanks Independent School District Board of Trustees is now convened in a regular board meeting on Monday, October 10th, 2022 in the boardroom of the Cypress Fairbanks Independent School District Instructional Support Center located at 10300 Jones Road, Houston, Texas at 6 p.m. I want to welcome the members of our audience and our television viewers to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As the Cypress Fairbanks Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. Audience members may not participate in the meeting outside the designated agenda items for citizen participation or public comment. Disruption of the meeting by any person, including the audience, is inappropriate and will be addressed by the board president or the board's counsel as a meeting parliamentarian. Continued or repeated disruption of any board meeting by words or actions may result in removal or loss of the privilege to attend the meeting. The next portion of this boilerplate, as it were, is going to be read by Vice President Heineman.
Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on tonight's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by sections 551.071 through 551.084 of the Texas Government Code. These proceedings are airing live on Comcast Channel 16 and the district website. They will also be available as video on demand on the district website following tonight's meeting. For the video to adequately reflect the proceedings, I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and for your interest in the Cypress Fairbanks Independent School District. I would also like to take this opportunity to recognize our Community Leadership Committee members who are in attendance this evening.
They are Tanya Jagey, Grace Handley, and Ryan Irving.
As a start to the new school year, we have made changes in the meeting agenda and have new procedures in place for audience participation. During the board's Team of 8 training, consensus was reached regarding these changes. Persons who wish to participate in agenda comments, formerly referred to as public comments, and/or citizen participation may sign up using the designated registration form link posted in the meeting agenda on the district's website beginning when the meeting agenda is posted through 12 p.m. on the day of the meeting. Persons wishing to speak must complete the designated registration form in full and be present at the meeting to make his or her own comments during the designated time for agenda comments and/or citizen participation to be eligible to speak. Any registered speaker who is absent from the meeting at the time for agenda comments and/or citizen participation forfeits the opportunity to address the board at that meeting, but may submit written comments to the board. At each open meeting of the board, patrons who have registered in accordance with the procedures established by BED regulation may address the board during the designated agenda comments period prior to the board's consideration or action on the item. Patrons wishing to comment on more than one agenda item must complete a separate agenda comment request form for each item. Unless the agenda is otherwise rearranged by the board president during the meeting, agenda comments will generally be taken prior to each agenda item. At each regular meeting of the board, patrons who have registered in accordance with the procedures in BED regulation may address the board during citizen participation on any matters of interest or concern that are not posted agenda items. Individuals may only register to speak one time per meeting under citizen participation. Unless the agenda is otherwise rearranged by the board president during the meeting, citizen participation will generally be held after reports and action items. For more detailed information on the amount of time allotted and the number of registered speakers for both agenda comments and citizen participation, please go to the district website under Addressing the Board.
To speak this evening may see the order of names listed on the screens to your right and to your left. Before your name is called, please move forward and sit in one of the 2 reserved seats on the front row. The invocation for tonight's board meeting will be given by Reverend Angela Singenberger. Reverend Singenberger is the Director of Youth Evangelization and Catechesis at Christ the Redeemer Catholic Church, where she has served in youth ministry for 6 years. Originally an Ohioan, Angela has grown to love Texas and most especially loves her role at CTR, where she gets to accompany students as they ask big questions, connect more deeply with their faith, and experience the incredible love that God has for them. Angela, thank you for being here tonight. Before the invocation, I would like to introduce the Cypress Springs High School Air Force JOTC cadets who will be presenting the colors this evening. Carrying the U.S. flag is the Corps Commander and Color Guard Commander, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Preston Grant. Carrying the Texas flag is Cadet First Lieutenant Aria Hagan. The U.S. Guard is Cadet First Abiola Olutuwaju, and the Texas Guard is Cadet First Lieutenant Jordan Frederick. These cadets present the colors to you under the direction of Major Retired Jerome Frederick and Technical Sergeant Retired Marvin Waterman. At this time, I would ask for you to please stand, first for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
If you'll join me in prayer. Father, we come to you tonight in a spirit of thanksgiving for all that you do for us, all the ways that you provide for us. And in a special way tonight, we pray for your peace which passes all understanding, peace that the world cannot give, to be given to our students, to reside in our schools. We pray that your peace may first be known to us so that it be made known through us. We pray, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
Amen.
Pizza, hope, faith, love, peace, thanks, honor.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Prayer, honor, love, life, faith, hope, word, honor.
Please be seated. Board member Dr. Natalie Blassingame will read the district's vision and mission statement for the benefit of the audience.
Our vision at CFISD is formed from the acronym LEAD, to learn, empower, achieve, dream, LEAD. Our mission is to maximize every student's potential through rigorous and relevant learning experiences, preparing students to be 21st century global learners.
We will now proceed with the remarks and recognition portion of the agenda. Superintendent Dr. Mark Henry will make remarks and announcements regarding the honors and achievements earned by staff and students in recent weeks and provide information regarding district and community events or items of interest. We have speakers on this topic. The first speaker is Representative John Rosenthal. I do not see him in the room. If you are not present, you forfeit your opportunity to speak. The second speaker is Ryan Irving.
Good evening, Superintendent Henry, President Jackson, Board of Trustees, and to all of the Cy-Fair community. Congratulations on the A rating from the Texas Education Agency. To Superintendent Dr. Mark Henry, the Cy-Fair ISD Board of Trustees, and most especially to all of the education workers in CFISD. This letter is from Representative John Rosenthal to congratulate the Cypress Fairbanks Independent School District on achieving the distinction of being the largest A-rated school district in Texas, according to the Texas Education Agency 2022 Accountability Rating System. I am beyond proud to represent this district and community in Austin. Even with challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, I never doubted that CFISD would succeed and continue to perform beyond expectations. I believe that we have the best campus leaders, teachers, and education workers in the state of Texas. And CFISD continues to be a shining example every day. It truly takes everyone pitching in together to make great things happen, and our CFISD community deserves the highest recognition and accolades for always meeting the challenges of the day. Thank you all for your efforts. Kind regards, John. Thank you.
There are no other speakers. Dr. Henry, the microphone is yours.
And Ryan, tell Representative Rosenthal, thank you very much for the letter, and thank you for the nice little email you sent me today. It means a lot coming from a former student and graduate. September, first full month of school. Please enjoy this September recap video highlighting how our students and staff brought out the best.
So stop saying, why would you? And start saying, why would you not? It's time to get CFISD certified.
"25 CFISD seniors representing 7 high schools were confirmed as semifinalists in the 68th Annual National Merit Scholarship Program. The 25 semifinalists are among 16,000 students throughout the United States that placed among the top 1% of approximately 1.5 million students who entered the merit program by taking the PSAT during their junior year. Congratulations to all of our semifinalists. CFISD recognized 7 honorees of distinction at the 28th Annual Wall of Fame ceremony on September 26th at the Berry Center. The honorees included 5 staff members who earned significant achievements or held prominent offices during the 2021-22 school year. We also recognized 2 Friends of Education who have made major contributions to enhance the educational experiences of CFISD students, Darlene and Mike Gerard. You can rewatch the Wall of Fame ceremony on our CFISD YouTube channel. The annual college night was held October 4th from 6 to 8 at the Berry Center, allowing students and parents to meet with representatives from hundreds of colleges, universities, and military technical schools. More than 3,100 visitors attended our first in-person college night since 2019. National School Lunch Week is this week, October 10th through 14th, celebrating the National School Lunch Program that serves nearly 30 million children every day and the importance of a healthy school lunch. CFISD's Nutrition Services team serves more than 105,000 meals each day. This year's theme is Get Your Day in Gear with a Healthy School Lunch. And they are celebrating by serving students favorites and house-made items and highlighting the great work the cafe, production center, and warehouse teams do every day. October 17th through the 21st is designated as School Bus Safety Week, a public education program addressing the importance of school bus safety. The 2022-23 theme is One Bus Plus One Driver equals a big impact on education. A reminder that Monday, October 24th is a designated teacher workday and student holiday. During the week of October 24th to 28th, CFISD will participate in Red Ribbon Week. The National Family Partnership organized the first nationwide Red Ribbon campaign as a way for people and communities to unite and take a visible stand against drugs. The Red Ribbon Campaign, the largest drug prevention program in the nation, originated in 1985 and used a visual display of red ribbons as a symbol of intolerance towards the use of drugs. Along with celebrating Red Ribbon Week, CFISD will participate in National Bullying Prevention Month, a nationwide campaign founded in 2006 by Pacers National Bullying Prevention Center. The campaign is held during the month of October and unites communities around the world to educate and raise awareness of bullying prevention. We hope you will join us supporting our students during Red Ribbon Week as well as Bullying Prevention Month. That's all I have today, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. We will now proceed with board comments. 2A, board members may make comments during this portion of the agenda regarding school visited, meetings and conferences attended, district and community events and initiatives, or continuing education. The board may not take action on items discussed. There are no speakers on this topic this evening, so we will now turn to my colleagues. Let me go to my right. Mr. Henry.
Thank you. And good evening. And thank you, everyone, for joining us online. And thank you for everyone in attendance as well. As last month was Friday Night's Light, this month is Band October month. Large portion of our high school students in attendance. It's been some great weather outside to see some of our Sci-Fair bands compete in several events these past weekends. At the BOA in Katy, our Sci-Fair and Cy-Woods bands performed and made some great final performances. And this past weekend in Conroe, we attended the Lone Star Preview where Bridgeland and Sci-Fair bands performed and received several awards, including Outstanding Music, Outstanding Visuals, Outstanding General Effects. Congratulations to Bridgeland for taking in first place and Cy-Woods for taking second place. The amount of time, effort is commendable by all the students, but also the band directors, the assistant directors, the color guard directors, the pit crew, choreographers, and of course the volunteers. Thank you very much for all the effort you put in. We also want to thank the parents as well. You drive your kids to and from there, the chaperones, those who do on the first aid. Also the grandparents, the teachers, the staff, and administrators who come out and cheer you on. I don't know if you noticed or not, but when you're in the stands, you actually get points for there as well. That's a very important fact. And least I forget our fabulous bus drivers who take us to and from those events. In fact, our kids get home, they got there at 4 a.m. one morning and midnight the night before. Thank you for everything you do, and I probably missed some people, so thank you very much. We also attended the TASB conference in San Antonio. The focus I focused on was student outcomes. And one of the sessions I attended was around some of the great sessions from Tyler ISD and how they were improving student outcomes and some of the strategies around accomplishing those goals in Tyler. They were making great strides in improving some very difficult situations. I learned quite a bit from their presentation. Another focus was around trafficking and training to better identify and address some of the issues around those problems. Although it's a very sensitive topic, it's also a very important topic. And I'm glad the room was full of both trustees and administrators. It was very, very up-to-date content. In fact, the topic actually changed the day before, and they had to make the changes to the presentation just that day. And I was pleased that TA is putting that issue front and center for us to make very important changes to our district. Last, it was good to meet other trustees and educators around Texas to hear what's working, what's not, lessons learned, and best practices. And I will say, Marnie did a very good job in your presentation. Even your joke, which wasn't bad. Wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. I know, and it was great to also see the entire team members there to support you as well. Saprita Core is also great among this district. With that, I want to say thank you very much, and I wish everyone a wonderful evening.
Dr. Blasiuk.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, thank you to all of you who take the time to attend, to live stream, to watch these meetings. And engaged citizenry is indeed our best hope. And a thank you to all the teachers and librarians and rest of the staff for taking their time and getting work done on our book to get those back into circulation for students. Your work is noted and appreciated. TASB, I was proud to represent you, our district, our citizenry, in the delegate assembly along with Julie. We were able to propose and take action on some amendments in that action, and that was great to have our voice heard there in TASB. I also attended a packed session on dual language education, which is a program in which students learn academic content in both English and Spanish. There were districts from across the state that were growing their programs, especially since state funding now flows to that program. And students in some of the districts, most are graduating bilingual, some are even graduating trilingual. And the program is awesome, obviously, for linguistic development, but also is proven to, hence the state's funding it, to increase academic, cognitive, and sociocultural development of our students as well. And so that's something that if our community is interested in it, we'd love to hear that. Bilingualism to me is a gift to be celebrated and developed. It's not a deficit. I'd definitely like to share these comments in Spanish as well for our Spanish-speaking families. Fui a la Junta, entrenamiento para los de la Junta Directiva in where were we, Dallas? San Antonio. Y asistí a una sesión que trata del programa de Dual Language o programa de 2 idiomas. Y es un programa en que los niños aprenden, los que hablan español, los que hablan inglés, aprenden juntos materia académica en los 2 idiomas y no más salen bilingüe, que es un regalo, pero también sus destrezas cognitivas, académicas y en sus socioculturales crecen en esos programas. Y es algo que muchos distritos en la área están creciendo. Y si les interesa aprender más, por favor, lleguen a la Junta y avísanos si les interesa ver más programas que desarrollan el bilingüismo en nuestros estudiantes. I also attended a session with colleagues on aligning district goals, ongoing progress monitoring, the superintendent's evaluation. It was a powerful session. It's critical that we focus on educational attainment of our students as the main key, as we do here in Cy-Fair, because schools are the only entity in our community that are charged with this responsibility of developing our students academically. It was also great seeing so many old friends there, meeting new ones. TASB was really, 2022 was a really valuable experience. I also would like to encourage any community groups that are looking to partner with our schools. We heard an incredible presentation. I hope you'll listen to it on our workshop on Thursday. There's a really great team here to support people, and I think we had 20, maybe it was about 20 schools still looking for partners. I've been a part of a partnership with my church and another church for 11 or 12 years. It's so rewarding. One of our schools, the school that we support, was honored here as an outperformer, one with the largest low socioeconomic status population, yet performing as an A with district across the district. So anyone who would be interested, Don Tryon's office, There are mentors like those two groups that support Hayer Grove Elementary that would be there. It doesn't just, not one organization doesn't have to do it all, but if we can gather together, and many gather, know that we can cover all their schools and make sure they all have partners. And I've also had really great time attending the football games in the last couple of Friday nights and Thursday night even, Thursday night football, volleyball games, awards assemblies, awards sessions for staff as well. There are so many excellent people doing excellent work in Cy-Fair. It is just, it's mind-boggling, the level of quality, the level of attention to detail, and all the hard work that is done for our students. So congratulations to our team, all those that are part of that. I appreciate all that you do. Thank you for making Cy-Fair bring out the best in every student.
Mr. Sarabia.
Hello, everybody. Welcome all. And for those viewing, thank you for your attendance, guys. Like Scott said, the weather has been fantastic. Oh, I'm not sure how that happened. I'm sorry. I'm trying to turn it off. I forgot what the score was Saturday of Texas OU game. So, anyways, Dr. Kane, I'm sure he's is he here today? He's still celebrating. So, anyways, I attended a great VIPS luncheon that Don threw, and to always celebrate our volunteers throughout the district, and that's always a great event to get to. The San Antonio Conference was also excellent in attendance. Many sessions attended, heard some great speakers, some motivational speakers, met Commissioner Morath. I think Natalie was there when we met him, and I had a few words had a chance to talk to him at the very end and stuff. And he's trying, so he's trying. So he's put in a tough spot, but he's trying. So, but it was encouraging. I wanted to hear what he had to say and what his biggest challenges were and stuff. So. The conference was well attended. It's always good to hear the trustees and everybody else from around the state and hear their views, and if they're experiencing a lot of the same problems that we do. And of course, when we walk around with our Cypress Fairbanks badge, it is brought to attention right away, especially in the expo. The expo, they like to see Cypress Fairbanks in there and stuff. So I'm not sure why, but I'm sure it's probably that bond money or something like that. So, but it was well attended, and the games and events throughout the last month, literally hundreds of students and employees, if not thousands. I try to speak to as many as I can. Again, as my MO is, I'll ask our employees how the year's going, and again, sometimes they spot me and sometimes they don't, but I heard encouraging words the last few weeks on where we're at. My question usually is, how are we compared to last year, and they, not knowing who I am, or, oh, it's better, yeah, we still have work to do, but it's better, and that's where we want to hear. We always have work to do, but I love seeing our students out there. Our families are out there, the kids are out there, the parents are out there, Natalie's out there, and but it's good to see everybody out there and enjoying what the district brings to it, and a lot has to do with the employees and our administration. You guys do a fantastic job of being the leader in our community and stuff. So kudos to the administration and to all the volunteers and all the parents and kids in our district.
Mr. Scanlon.
Thank you, President Jackson. So, good evening, all. And again, thank you for all those who are in attendance, both in person and online. So I want to encourage our teachers and principals. In the last weeks, I've had multiple outreaches from multiple stakeholders, and I just want our teachers, our principals, librarians, those that are in our schools to recognize that our parents see the focus on improved student learning outcomes and focus upon classroom management. So I just want to encourage our teachers that as we're beginning the school year, know that we see the connection Our students are hearing you, and our parents recognize the effort, and they appreciate it. So for all of those that are putting in the long hours and working to make that connection with our students on good days and days that could be better, just know that you are being heard and appreciated. So, like my colleagues, I also attended the TASB conference, and it's always good to hear other perspectives. And so we had an opportunity to attend sessions, and so I focused on good student learning outcomes, as well as how we might think about new methods to report on those student learning outcomes. So that was great. And in the last month, moving towards the band theme, so as someone who is a ex-band person, it's almost like being a Marine. That actually tasted bad coming out of my mouth. You never actually leave it. So I've had the opportunity to volunteer with a couple of our schools here in the band programs, and I just want to anonymously mention I appreciate the band directors that are allowing me onto their campus. Thank you very much. And as I've attended multiple football games, I've got an opportunity to meet lots of other band directors. You guys would be stunned at how tightly knit that community is, because we all know each other. We all know someone's teacher. We all played and rehearsed and practiced with someone's teacher. So everybody that's in Cy-Fair, it's a family among your artistic community that goes back 25 years. And so I need to give a special shout out to a few stakeholders. So one, our teachers for our drill team and our cheerleaders at Langham Creek High School. So as an impromptu event, I was with Dr. Blassingame, and I took full advantage of being a trustee, and I carted my daughter around the game, and I introduced her to the cheerleaders and the drill team members. They were so gracious with my daughter, and I actually asked the coach for the cheerleaders, I said, would you mind if my daughter met your cheerleaders? It would mean so much to her. And I did the same with the drill team coach, and my daughter was just in awe. And I found out on the way home how much more money I was going to pay for all of those activities for now going forward. So I was committed before, now I'm really committed. So thank you for that. It was so special for my daughter, yes. And then most recently, wonderful fundraiser with our Cy Ranch drill team. They have the opportunity for our daughters to go and sit with those girls. And so my daughter went and sat with them leading up into halftime and was able to be part of the halftime show. And again, it was just such a wonderful opportunity. So thank you, Cy Ranch Classics, for allowing my daughter to participate with you. It was just wonderful. Last thoughts. To all of our teachers and librarians, we support you. And we don't just say that. In my household, and I'm sure in everybody else's household, we think almost 24/7 about the district. And we think about how to make improvements. We think about how to support our community. So we support you. To our admin, we're committed to you. So the admin that's in the room, admin that's in our schools, and admin that is around our district that we don't see all the time. You guys, you have a thankless job. You don't get a high five. You don't get an attaboy. You don't get we appreciate you, thank you for your service. So I just want you to know that as a board, we're committed to you. And I hope you see that come through in our decisions and the time that we spend. And then to our staff who get our kids to school, who feed our kids, who keep our kids safe, and all the other important roles that you have. We have your back, and we won't stop. And so there are stories and stories and stories that most of the viewing audience and attending audience will never hear or see about all the nuance and the detail that goes into planning to make sure that every single day goes off without a hitch. And so we see it. And thank you very much. Those are my comments, President Jackson.
Ms. Heinerman.
Thank you. Well said, Mr. Scanlon. Before I read my comments, I just want to say hello to Ms. Blackshear, who we are missing tonight in person. It has been a very busy month in Cypher ISD, and I've enjoyed participating in several events and activities around the district. Since our last formal board meeting, the board had an opportunity to tour the what's called JJAEP, the Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Program. And this is a program for students who have been expelled from our district for a certain period of time. We also had a tour of ALC East, which is our district alternative education program. And this program is for students who have been suspended from attending their home campuses for a short period of time. We really developed a better understanding of the types of infractions committed by students and how the district supports their ongoing education so that they don't fall behind in their studies while they are fulfilling the consequences of their actions. We've also had the opportunity to visit with students, teachers, and staff at several schools. Each year we get a different list of schools to visit, and I always try to visit different schools every year so that I hope that I can eventually visit all 93 of our campuses during my time as a trustee. This month I visited Bridgeland High School, Warner Elementary School, Postma Elementary School, Berks Elementary School, Hamilton Middle School, and the Brodegum Center. While each campus has its own unique personality and vibe and culture, every campus is continuing to strive to serve the needs of all of our students and has the highest level of student achievement possible. I'm proud of each and every one of those campuses. I love spending time with principals and staff members, students, teachers, and the volunteers on campus. I also attended the VIPS Lunch and Learn on September 21st. It was the first one of the new year, and it was great visiting with so many volunteers, new and experienced volunteers from around the district. As my colleagues, I attended the annual TASA TASB conference in San Antonio. I arrived early for the quarterly TASB Board of Directors meeting and a Budget and Finance Committee meeting on which I serve. I also served on the Delegate Assembly along with Natalie Blassingame. We represented districts in Texas Education Region 4. Thank you, Natalie, for your service as a representative on the Legislative Advisory Council and as a delegate. I also attended several continuing education sessions to learn about best practices and to gain new ideas from districts around the state. Also attended several football games, and it is truly a joy, as my colleagues have said, watching so many students participate, whether it's football, drill team, cheerleaders, sports medicine. The AV kids, the AV production kids do a fantastic job. Journalism kids, there are so many opportunities for literally hundreds of students to participate in those events. So it's really not just about the football players, although that's a big part of it. There's really so many students that get to participate. And I also want to say thank you to the staff that attend those games. It makes for a long day after you've been at school all day and you're going down to the field and supporting your students at night. So thank you so much for all y'all do. I attended the CFISD Wall of Fame ceremony held on September 26th. We got to celebrate several staff members who have been recognized at the state level for their achievements. We also got to recognize Mike and Darlene Jawar, as you mentioned. These are very special people who have contributed over $1.4 million over 19 years to our FFA programs at each of our high schools. They are incredible community partners with CFISD, and we are grateful for their contribution and their support of our FFA programs. I attended the drug awareness presentation on September 28th, which was provided by our counseling department. Over 140 parents and families registered for that event, and it was standing room only. There's clearly a tremendous need for this type of partnership between our parents and the school district to address the drug use within our community. It's a major issue that parents are facing, and it's also impacting our schools when students bring drugs with them to campus or if they come to school under the effects of drugs. Topics that were included in this presentation were the different types of drugs, how to identify them, and the impact on student health. Parents were particularly interested in learning more about the issue of vaping. So we spent a lot of time in that session talking about vaping. There were resources provided for parents, specifically how to talk to your students, your children, about drugs and the impact it can have on them, their health, and where to seek substance use treatment. Parents requested more sessions like this, so I hope that we will continue to provide that to our parents. And I appreciate many of the open and honest conversations that I was able to have with parents that night. I was invited to help with morning car line drop-off at Warner Elementary School, which was followed by a dance party Friday, which celebrated another successful week at Warner Elementary School, and it helps get all your wiggles out before instructional time starts. It was the highlight of my week, and it was a serious workout. I was sweating big time after dancing through the building. It's a much bigger building than it seems from the outside, but it was so much fun. We also had Spirit Day for the CFISD Police Department on October 5th, sponsored by Willie's Grill. It was a great way for our police department to interact with our community, and there was a huge turnout. This event not only fostered a positive relationship between our police department and the community, but it was also a fundraiser. Our police department does great work with several community service projects, including donating bikes to students. And some other things they do, scholarships for the Junior Police Academy, and so much more. Thank you, CFISD police officers, for keeping our students and staff and facilities safe. We appreciate you. I attended the REACH luncheon. I know that's not a CFISD event, but as you know, in our district, we provide vocational and educational services to students through the age of 21. But when those students now then leave our district, they still have a need for those services. So Reach Unlimited is a wonderful partner with Cy-Fair ISD, and it was an honor to support them at their luncheon, but also to see so many of our former students thriving at Reach as they continue to receive vocational and educational opportunities. Finally, or close to finally, mentoring. Mentoring finally kicked off. This year I'm mentoring 2 small groups at Cy Falls High School over 2 class periods. This is my 5th year, and we meet weekly, and the highlight is a community service project that we'll be doing in the spring. The student I mentored that I've been mentoring through middle school and high school graduated last year, so I was able to reach out to our community engagement folks and ask for another student, and I said, put me anywhere you need me. Unfortunately, we have a long list of schools that are still in need of mentors, so if you have time, 30 minutes a week or every other week to be a mentor, I would encourage you to do that. I would encourage you to also mentor at a school that's not in your neighborhood. It's worth the drive to drive a little bit outside your own neighborhood, your own community space, and work with a student in another schools. The positive connection between a grown-up and a student can make the difference in the life of a young person. Kids want to be seen, heard, supported, and held accountable. One bonus. When I was mentoring at Cy Falls, I happened to be there at the time of their bringing out the best character education session. So I got to see it implemented live, and I was really impressed. Great job, curriculum department, and to that committee that put that together. This month's topic is integrity, and so there was a great video that went with that. In fact, the kids liked it so much they wanted to watch it again. And then we had some fantastic discussion around the issue of integrity. We didn't get to all the activities, but we spent so much good time on the conversation and the questions and examples. The kids thought it was really time well spent. So I was pleased to see that state-mandated character education program in action. And then libraries. Thank you to librarians. We recognize the additional workload and stress created by the implementation of the new policy right as school was starting. And we know that you don't just deal with books, but you're also dealing with instructional technology resources like Chromebooks. I always try to visit with the librarians when I'm on my school visits to say thank you in person. I want to say congratulations to the district on achieving a top rating on the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. While many of us take this for granted because CFISD received this top rating for the last 20 years, CFISD is actually an exception. We demonstrate through independent auditing, exceptional financial integrity and transparency, and the district puts the vast majority of financial resources into the classrooms of teachers and students. So special thanks to Karen and her team. Okay, this is the last one, I promise. The board work session last week had a lot of discussion about the district tax rate and how public schools are funded. School finance in Texas is very complex. There's a lot of information available on the district website I would encourage you to go to learn more, and it's important for us all to be well-informed, whether we're taxpayers, parents, trustees, and especially voters. Thank you.
I think my colleagues covered just about all the topics I would talk about, so I will spare you with my 3-hour monologue. But just a few things to point out. Great fun Friday night. I attended starting off Cy Springs and Cy Lakes game, followed by Langham Creek and Cy Woods. I always start out first in the stands. I walk the concourse, always go down to where the band is. And then I went back upstairs. But what was truly fun is I saw our students just having fun. Our parents were thrilled to be out there. And of course, if your team wasn't winning, that wasn't so much fun, right? But just being there was very special. The facilities were clean and safe. I noticed officers on patrol in both parking lots, as well as at entrances. I think, Chief, I know you're always watching. Your men and ladies are doing a great job for us. As we already heard, I'm pleased to report that at trustee training in San Antonio, all trustees were present. Attendance makes us better trustees armed with knowledge and ideas. While there, I was reminded that relationships matter, and at the business level, good relationships translate into better results. It's true in the business world, and it's equally true in the education realm as well. I, too, visited with the commissioner. He and I actually served briefly on TASB. He was always fascinated and would always ask me, trying to find out how could Cy-Fair do what it did, and how could he take that back to Dallas. I don't know that we ever reached agreement, but there were always good conversations. He did ask me to tell Bob hello, so Bob, hello from the commissioner. One of the sessions I attended, I visited with a representative from the TEA. They typically do not have sessions. And this representative reminded me that when trustees routinely give year after year raises greater than that recommended by management, that TEA takes notice. I'm sure he wasn't talking about us, even though he was talking to me. He also mentioned that TEA always keeps an eye where trustees step out of the realm of governance. I'm not certain why TEA and I had such a lengthy conversation, but I was glad to leave that room and go on to another one. I, too, attended the VIPS luncheon. It was heartwarming to see the parent volunteers there, but also to answer the questions as people came up to me about different matters that are facing the district. There are many different ways that we have of finding out and listening to our constituents. Attending the Reach Unlimited luncheon reminded me that we educate all children. Some just have greater needs. I attended our Wall of Fame ceremony. Cy-Fair was a leader in the state for this type of recognition, and now it's considered best practices, and almost all districts have something like this. The superintendent who graduated me envisioned a statewide Wall of Fame when he took the helm at HISD. It never happened, but I remembered that concept when I came here to Cy-Fair, knowing that it was so well thought of. There are two names that are known as stalwarts of the CFISD Livestock Show, one of whom was an honoree. Sadly, neither of them could be in attendance because of illness that night. I know both will be present in the springtime when it's time for the next show. I will always remember their names and their contributions. I want to say thank you to Dr. Yumake, Dr. Stewart, Dr. Henry for arranging the JJ and the ALC tour. It was very instructional. What I found fascinating is, although there was much concern over a lack of discipline and lack of action being taken, we actually found out that the referrals to JJ increased by 50% from the prior year. So it wasn't necessarily a matter that action wasn't being taken, but our students came back from their COVID break having to relearn many of the standard social mores and behaviors. Action was taken and will continue to be taken as well. Wearing pink, as I do tonight, I want to say that everybody on the board supports those in the community that are going through cancer. I think the caregivers probably have a tougher time of it than those who are undergoing treatment, but it impacts everybody, and it's present in all of our schools. In addition, I would like to remind our parents, as Ms. Heineman pointed out on vaping, it's very easy for vaping to become a felony. A very small percentage of the THC fluid is necessary for it to be categorized as a felony. A famous basketball star, if they had been arrested here in Texas, would have been charged with a felony. It's serious stuff, parents, and I know that parents want to ensure that their children are always safe. Tonight, I want to tip my hat to our Hall of Fame honorees and the staff and students who made Friday Night Lights come alive. So let's get back to business, shall we? Agenda items 3A, B, and C under the reports portion of the agenda were presented at the board work session on Thursday, October 10th, 2022. I would like to readdress item 3A and read aloud the 8 required board training areas of continuing education along with team building and the additional required continuing education hours. For the record, all trustees have exceeded their required continuing education total hours for the period October 12th, 2021 through October 10th, 2022, as well as all the required individual categories. Happily, there are no speakers on this topic this evening. So some of the areas where all trustees must take training: orientation to the Texas Education Code, evaluating and improving student outcomes, post-legislative update to the TEC. New trustees must take OMA and PIA within the first 90 days of being elected. There's also local district orientation. There is cybersecurity, child abuse prevention, school safety training, team building session, and then the aggregate hours. Total hours: Debbie Blackshear, 19.5, Dr. Natalie Blasingame, 64.75, Scott Henry, 38, Julie Heineman, 50, Tom Jackson, 54.75, Gilbert Sarabia, 37.75, Lucas Scanlon, 35. I want to say thank you to my colleagues for their hard work over the weekend. I made it look as if Holly had not given me the proper information Thursday night. My colleagues were missing 19 sessions. However, over from Thursday night until this morning, all of my colleagues are now up to date and current on all sessions. It's necessary. If we lead, we have to lead by example. We cannot ask more of others than what we ask of ourselves, and at no point in time should we ever ask anybody to do anything that we ourselves are not willing to do. Item 3C. The administration will provide a progress report on Goal 4, Communications and Community Relations, Objectives 1 to 3 of the board monitoring system. We did this Thursday night. However, we have one speaker, Dr. Tara Cummings.
Hi, everyone. I'm a parent of current CFISD students and a resident and taxpayer in CFISD. In other words, I'm an actual stakeholder. And I want to applaud and thank the district for the 2 new ad hoc committees, Portrait of a CFISD Graduate and Opportunity for All. In addition to creating the committees to begin with, I'm so grateful that y'all are requiring that committee members be actual stakeholders in CFISD, unlike when Trustee Blasingame insisted on appointing non-stakeholder Teresa Thomas to SHAC. I also appreciate admin for the measures you'll take to ensure that these committees will most fully represent our CFISD community in terms of geographic location, race and gender, type of stakeholder, and occupation. To be most effective and beneficial, it's crucial that district committees accurately reflect the voice, choice, and values of our incredibly diverse and inclusive CFISD community. So again, thank you for your careful planning in this regard. I look forward to the excellent work that these new committees will do. Thank you.
The public hearing portion of the agenda was presented at the board work session on Thursday, October 6, 2022. We will now proceed with the action items portion of the agenda. Action items 5A through 5C, 5E through 5K, 5M through 5O were placed on consensus during the board work session on Thursday, October 10th, 2022. Item 5L was removed from the agenda. Vice President Heineman, I am going to ask you to read those items that were placed on the consent agenda, starting with 5A.
Okay. 5A, the board will consider approving the minutes of the September 12th, 2022 regular board meeting. 5B, the board will consider awarding bids and contracts and/or authorizing purchase orders as recommended in the posted agenda item. 5B1, 2021 elementary school number 59. 5B2, elementary school 58, traffic signal, Clay and Elm Drive. 5C, the board will consider approving the 2022 certified tax rolls and the estimated collections rate for 2022 to be 100%, and the 2021 excess debt collections rate to be 0. 5E, the board will consider approving the non-use and non-disclosure agreement between Cypress Fairbanks ISD and Fajita Pete's Franchising, LLC, to provide a community-based work training site for CTE students. 5F, the board will consider approving the affiliation agreement between Cypress Fairbanks ISD and HEB and its affiliates to provide unpaid community-based work training for CTE students with disabilities. 5G, the board will consider approving the Adopt a State Highway contracts and agreements between Harris County and Cypress Falls High School Air Force Junior ROTC and Cypress Springs High School Air Force JROTC/TX-200016. 5H, the board will consider approving the shared service arrangement between Cypress Fairbanks ISD and Lone Star College. 5I, the board will consider approving on first reading additions, revisions, or deletions to district policies. 5I1, FEA local attendance, compulsory attendance, revise. 5I2, FEC local attendance, attendance for credit, revise. 5J, the board will consider approving on second reading addition, revisions, or deletions to district policies. 5J1, DMA local, professional development, required staff development, add. 5J2, DP local, personnel positions, revise. 5J3, FFBA local, crisis intervention, trauma-informed care, revise. 5J4, FFG local, student welfare, child abuse and neglect, revise. 5K, the board will consider approving the Cypress Fairbanks Annual District Professional Learning Plan. 5M, the board will consider the approval and execution of the plat for the 50-acre tract on FM 529. 5N, the board will consider awarding bids and contracts and/or authorizing purchase orders as recommended in the posted agenda item. 5N1, Art Consulting, Mark Henry, ED, Admin Building, and Visual and Performing Arts Center, VPAC. 5N2, Berry Center, Pridgeon Stadium, post-event cleaning. 5N3, Charter Bus and Travel Agency to events for students and staff. 5N4, Electric School Buses. 5N5, Grease Trap, Sand, Oil, Solids, Interceptor, Line Cleaning. 5N6, Medicaid and Student and Health-Related Billing Services. 5N7, Pharmacy Technician and CPR Certification Programs. 5N8, Tyler Technologies, Inc. Agreement. 5O, the board will consider approving the interlocal governmental agreement between Harris County Municipal Utility District, HCMUD number 396, HCMUD number 397, and Cypress Fairbanks ISD for funding to purchase and install playground equipment at Swinky Elementary School, and authorize the superintendent or designee to negotiate the final terms and execute all related documents. This item may be discussed in closed session pursuant to Section 551.071.
Thank you. If any board member wishes to remove one or more of these items for further discussion, please do so at this time. We can also have discussion after the motion has been made and seconded. If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the consensus items as recommended or amended. First, does any board member wish to remove any items? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the consensus items as recommended or amended.
Mr. President, I move that the board approves the agenda items as recommended or amended.
The consensus items,
The
yes.
consensus items, sorry.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. It is now available for discussion. Any discussion or questions? So, I have one from last Thursday. And first, both Natalie as well as Julie reminded the viewing audience, if you did not watch the Thursday night work session, please do so. One, we had great presentations. The board also had very instructive questions on a wide-ranging area of the topics. So for tonight, it may look like we aren't doing anything, but we did all the work last week. So the carryover question to tonight, and this may be yours, Roy, to handle, is we were talking about our counselors and how we wanted to make certain that they were not being overly burdened with duties outside of that which is normally assigned to them. Could you comment, please?
Yes, sir. I believe that you're referencing the policy that we have here and the whole focus on what we call the 80-20. And as you shared, what you spoke to would fall into the 20, the non-counseling duties, and the emphasis on making sure that our counselors are spending more time as delineated by the Comprehensive School Counseling Program. So we are moving forward in that direction. Just a couple of comments that I can make about that. We started looking at this several years ago, even before COVID, and then of course COVID hit, and it was, as you know, all hands on deck. So we're very optimistic that we're going to be able to hit that 80-20 as we move forward. And just a couple of things that you have done to help us out with that. You being the board, you think back to adding a second counselor at each of our elementary campuses. That has helped tremendously. Also, you approving either a behavioral interventionist or a testing coordinator just this past June for each of the elementary and middle school campuses. That too, just simply having another individual that can focus on some of those areas that may, in the past, counselors have been working with those non-counseling duties, that testing coordinator or behavioral interventionist can assist with that. And then again, most recently, us taking a look, recommended by TASB, and our HR department, guidance and counseling, is looking at the job description of our counselor. That has been modified for all of our counselors, and our principals and counselors are collaborating to get us where we want to be so we would be in compliance.
Thank you for your comments. I would make an observation to remind the viewing audience. What we did is, as a board, we went to senior management and we said, if we give you several months' worth of reserves, how would you best allocate those funds? And management came back to us. And we decided that we agreed with management, and it was a good step forward. That was something else that TEA brought out when they were talking to me, and this time I got to smile because they made a point that we are always, as trustees, we are always required to ask management, what would you do? Doesn't mean we have to agree with management, but that's the first step, is we always have to ask management, what would you do? And on this particular point, we did, and I'm glad that we did. I think it'll bear fruit. Other questions or comments before we move on? Seeing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. The following action items were placed on non-consensus. The board will consider the 2022 tax rate resolution to support the 2022-2023 maintenance and operations and debt service budgets by setting the 2022 M&O and interest and sinking tax rates. May I have a motion to approve this non-consent item as recommended or amended?
I motion to approve the non-consent item as recommended or amended.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Are there any questions or comments?
Yes.
Ms. Heineman.
Karen, I just had a couple of follow-up questions after our long conversation about the tax rate, saying the tax rate. I remember in one of your presentations you showing a slide that talked about the balancing the state funds and local funds. Okay, so that's okay. And I know that the discussion was very confusing on Thursday. It was very long, and school finance is a very complex issue, and it's hard to get our heads around, but it's important. And this graphic, I think, is helpful because it's just sort of the basics, that as property taxes increase, local funds through property taxes increase, that our state aid goes down. The state is always leveling us out, correct?
That is correct.
So when taxpayers or tax owners see their property tax bills go up each year, it's due to the increase in their property tax values. Is that correct?
That's correct, and it's the value set by the Harris County Appraisal District.
Not by this board.
Correct.
So what I have seen over the last few years, since I guess 2017 or so, the district keeps lowering the tax rate that the district assesses. But because property values keep going up, taxpayers may see their bills going up. But the school district is doing the best we can to provide property tax relief by lowering our tax rate. Is that correct?
Yes, and that's through tax compression. Anytime property values increase more than 2.5%, the maintenance and operations tax rate is brought down so that the taxpayer does not see more than 2.5% increase in taxes.
But it's also through the additional homestead exemption of 20% savings that we provide to our taxpayers. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
So what I see on that graph is that we are doing our best to lower the property tax side for our taxpayers in hopes that the state aid it'll have to come up to even that out. So one thought I have is, what about, well, let me before I go to that. So the way that balances now, it's you said 57% local funds through property taxes and 41% state aid. Is that correct? Okay, and 2% from the federal government. If the state could increase their aid, obviously, it used to be 50-50, right? But even if they could increase their part of it, that would lower property taxes for taxpayers. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Typically, whenever the basic allotment goes up, then there is an adjustment done to the local share, which benefits taxpayers.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is this board is doing its best to compress our tax rate that we assess. We offer additional tax relief, property tax relief through an additional homestead exemption. But it would seem fair to also ask our state legislature to do their part by increasing the state aid, by increasing the basic allotment. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
And how would that happen?
Well, that would have to be done, obviously, the basic allotment is in actually the Texas Education Code, so they would actually have to change that in the Texas Education Code.
And they can do that when they're in session, starting on January 10th? Okay. The other thing is, on Thursday, Dr. Henry mentioned it too, and I asked for if we could just have an example of a home where we could show the actual net effective tax rate that incorporates the additional homestead exemption of 20% that we offer to our taxpayers. And I know you said that was very difficult to do, but
Yes,
I would
and
still
the
like to see
reason
that.
why it's difficult in Sonneman is because not everybody gets it. Because if you have a rental property or if we have Freeport exemption. However, if you look at it just on somebody that has a homestead exemption, that they've applied for on their residence, which is just one home, then what you would have to do is say on a $350,000 home, typically you would reduce the taxable value by 20%. But if you don't do that and you just say, what's the effective tax rate? Well, then the tax rate that's being proposed of 1.2948, the effective tax rate would be $1.03584.
That's exactly the number I had on my,
Yes, you
that I
did.
came up with.
You were correct.
Yay. But I think it's important that we communicate that when homeowners are looking at tax rates across districts, that they see our net effective tax rate. If you are a homeowner and you take advantage of the additional homestead exemption, you're not over 65, your rates aren't frozen, all that there's actually a significantly lower effective tax rate by the school district.
Correct.
Thank you for that confirmation.
Thursday night, I brought up the fact that we had an anomaly that presented itself to us that we did not take advantage of as a board. And that anomaly is when you have rapid property value increase and you have tax compression, we actually could have done away with part of our optional homestead exemption. The taxpayers would not have felt it, but we actually would have received more money in the district. I was at a restaurant and a patron who I did not know pulled up a chair and sat down and chatted with me about it, which is always interesting. And one of the questions he asked was, why didn't management bring it up? And the answer was simple. It's not management's job. We have the exemptions. It's their job to do with what we ask of them, and in terms of exemptions, what we have told them to do. It's their job to work with that. It's our job to take a look and see what else can be done. As I mentioned in the meeting, this anomaly may not present itself next year, but if it does, starting about March, we need to have conversations and discussions as to whether or not it makes sense to try and take advantage of the situation. Other questions or comments? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
Excuse me, Mr. Jackson, I apologize. We actually have to use the language with the tax
Oh,
rate.
you are correct.
We are required, I apologize for interrupting.
It is not in my script. So it will be on the computer. So, Natalie, do you have it pulled up? Okay. It's a race.
I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 1.294800, which is effectively a 4.95% increase in the tax rate. And further move that the board approve the resolution adopting the tax rate and levy ad valorem taxes for the year 2022 as reflected in the resolution for a decrease in the actual tax rate of 0.0444 or 4.44 cents.
Now, may I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Are we where we need to be, CFO Smith? Very good. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Done. 5P, the board will consider declaring a narrow strip of vacant land located next to Tips Elementary School as surplus and considering authorizing the sale of it to the adjacent property owner. This item may be discussed in closed session pursuant to Section 551.072. The board decided that a closed session was not necessary. May I then have a motion to approve this non-consensus item as recommended or amended?
I move to approve this non-consensus item as recommended or amended.
Is there a second?
A second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes, Holly. 5Q. The board will consider making a determination that good cause did not exist as required by law for Matthew Arnick, Jasmine Baxter, Alexa Chaplin, Bailey Crow, Dominique Jackson, Song Lee, Chesney Martin, Adam Pape, Megan Susong, and Kirsten Zapata to resign their respective employment contracts. This item was in fact discussed in closed session pursuant to Section 551.074 at the board work session on Thursday, October 6, 2022. There are no speakers on this topic this evening. May I have a motion to approve this non-consent item as recommended or amended?
I move that the Board of Trustees render a finding under Texas Administrative Code Section 249.17D that good cause did exist as required by Texas Education Code Sections 21.105C, 21.160C, or 21.210C for Matthew Arnick, Jasmine Baxter, Alexa Chaplin, Bailey Crow, Dominique Jackson, Song Lee, Chesney Martin, Adam Pape, Megan Susong, and Kirsten Zapata to resign their respective employment contracts and notify these employees in accordance with the law that the district is submitting a complaint to the State Board of Educator Certification for contract abandonment.
Excellent, thank you.
Just a confirmation, it was that good cause did not exist. I just want to correct the statement that was made.
And that is what you meant to say, right, Natalie? Thank you. May I have a second?
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. Before we have a vote, if anybody wants to make a comment, now is a good time to do so.
I'm sorry, I need to make a correction. No, they did not have good cause to abandon their contract. So good.
Correct.
Thank you.
So this is,
It was a little wordy, Dr. Blasigay, almost like a lawyer wrote it, right? Sorry. Sorry about that.
We need those lawyers in our lives.
so this is an important step that we're taking. This is the first time as a trustee that I have ever been asked to take this particular step as it relates to an employment contract. The district, based on how we vote, the district and the board will be sending a message. Any other observations, comments? Okay. All in favor of the motion as presented and seconded, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous, Holly. Thank you. We will now proceed with the citizen participation portion of the agenda. 6A, BED Local. Patrons may address the board during the regular board meeting under citizen participation on any matters of interest or concerns that are not posted agenda items. Individuals may only register to speak one time per meeting and must register in advance. Registration opens the day the agenda is posted to the district website, and the deadline for registering is 12 p.m. on the day of the meeting. To register, individuals must click on the Register to Speak link found under the Citizen Participation heading in the agenda for the meeting on the district website. This electronic speaker form must be completed in its entirety. Any registered speaker who is absent from the meeting at the time for citizen participation forfeits the opportunity to address the board at that meeting, but may submit written comments to the board. Just a reminder, patrons who have registered to speak this evening may see the order of their names listed on the screens to your right and to your left. Before your name is called, please move forward and sit in one of the two reserved seats on the front row. Mr. Secretary, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Our first speaker this evening is Julie Ricks.
Hello. Why are students not being taught facts? Opinion and political agenda are not facts. It is clear after speaking with my grandchildren they are being taught fallacies, such as the world is overpopulated. Not true. Check out an aerial view of the vast unpopulated land. God said, "Go forth and multiply." Why are students being taught climate change when the facts do not support it? The UN says we own science, the science of climate change, which translates it's not science, but a money-making and control agenda. Google says a man can get pregnant. Why are students being subjected to a belief that we are running out of energy? Not true. President Trump proved we can be energy independent. Growing up, we were fed the lie that we didn't have our own energy resources and were forced to be dependent on the Middle East for gas. We have been lied to for a long time. Why is SEL used on students? Why is a dystopian unit part of the curriculum? This teaching has no value in helping students become responsible adults and productive members of society. Why are students still being taught human sexuality as part of science that is not appropriate and not a role of public education? Why are students not being taught to be patriots and about American exceptionalism, instead being taught American was founded on slavery and is racist? Not true and not true. Thank God for America. Why are students being used for fundraisers to solicit parents, family, friends for supplies and playground equipment when a multi-million-dollar building is being erected on Telge with taxpayer money? Why is the consensus that school lunches are not edible? Why are schools failing
Please
to
wrap up
teach
your
the
comments.
essentials and demonstrate core values? I made a copy for each of them. Thank you.
The yellow light showing that you have 30 seconds left is not working. The next speaker is Tanzanika Williams.
Good evening, President Tom Jackson, board members, and Superintendent Dr. Henry. I am Tanzanika Williams, President of Cy-Fair TSTA NEA. I'm here on the behalf of Cy-Fair TSTA NEA to thank the board and Dr. Henry for equipping the scholars of Cypress Fairbanks ISD with the tools they need to become 21st century global learners and for ensuring the security, safety, and well-being of the district scholars and staff. I thank Mr. Tom Jackson, the board members, and Dr. Henry for the opportunity to speak, and thank you.
Our next speaker is Aisha Indemayo.
Hello, everybody. Last year, I wanted Cy-Fair ISD's policy regarding teachers having children fill out forms to request a counselor visit. I wanted to know under what circumstances this can occur, since a counselor told me they can see children without parents' knowledge or consent. I wanted my counselor policy questions answered in writing. I'm here tonight because I still don't have answers, and I've been through the district steps to go to the principal first to resolve the issue. The principal wrote me an email that I could get answers if I had a meeting to discuss. I replied I'd like the answers written, recorded, or have my child advocate present so I could have documentation for transparency and accountability. She responded that parents don't get to choose the mode of communication. My question to the board is, does the district have a policy on only communicating in a non-transparent way? Why can't I get policy in writing, recorded, or have their child advocate present? This doesn't sound right, but I sent the board all of my documentation from my principal on September 9th, and I still haven't gotten a response. Can I please get the answers I need in writing? And here's my email again in case it got lost. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dr. Tara Cummings.
Teachers and staff, get a load of this, and I quote, "Schools have become the main target for groomers to expose kids to sexually explicit content. Teachers are defending pedophiles. We are in a fight to save Texas students from woke propaganda. They are actively and knowingly indoctrinating Texas school children. They have swapped out grammar for grooming. Guess who's making these vile accusations? The Republican Party of Texas. Not just some bonkers rando nobody. The Republican Party of Texas. Don't believe me? Those quotes come from their official newsletters. They've indicated repeatedly in no uncertain terms that they revile educators and public education. They've accused teachers of being groomers, the radical left, and liberals. They're pouring in partisan money and endorsing candidates who believe those repugnant lies. The Republican Party of Texas has demonized teachers and is out to destroy public education. They said so themselves. I get that many truly good folks, including lots of public educators, have always identified and voted as Republican. But look what they are doing. Enough is enough. You cannot proclaim to support public education and vote Republican in Texas any longer. You simply can't. Not because I say so. Who am I to tell you how to vote? But because the Texas Republican Party has said so. Don't allow them to use your vote to hurt teachers, students, or CFISD. Election day is approaching, and while the CFISD school board is not on the ballot, that'll be next November, many statewide positions impact public education, including governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, state senators and reps, state board of ed, and even land commissioner. The last day to register to vote is tomorrow, 10/11. Early voting runs 10/24 to 11/4. Mail-in ballots must be received, not postmarked, by 10/28, and election day is 11/8. It's time to stand up to the liars and bullies that have become the Texas Republican Party and protect teachers and public education with your vote. Thank you.
Our last speaker is Donna Stallone.
Thank you. It's good to see you all again. I did move 11 miles down the road, which takes me out of the district, so that's about 4.27 miles to be more precise. So I hope that you will accept this information for the spirit in which it was given. So about a year ago, one of the lead counselors at Bridgeland High School said one of the best things we could do was bring about a better mental health care program or information to counselors at the school. So perhaps this will fall in line with what Mr. Garcia had to share earlier. I didn't know what that would look like, but over the last weekend, on Saturday, I was invited to a National School Chaplain program, and I was interested to find out that there in 48 states, there are laws that require the gospel to be taught in school, and just as we prayed and no one had any objection to that before this meeting, this chaplain would be a liaison to teachers and would alleviate time spent that teachers have to spend and counselors have to spend on other issues. I'm not sure who the point person would be on that, but these programs have been implemented in Indiana and Oklahoma, and they're seeing a huge improvement in respect for authorities, self-respect, confidence, motivation and goal setting, grades, inter-student relationships, teacher relationships, and attitudes about solving problems. And they've seen decreased bullying, alcohol and drug consumption, and reported violence in schools and homes. So I don't know who the point person would be. I would be happy to send it to you, and then maybe we can move forward with, introducing you to the folks that can make this happen. Thank you.
That concludes our speakers for this evening. We do not have a closed session that we need to go into. We are now ready to adjourn. Oh my goodness, really? I would entertain a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Motion's been made. Is there a seconded?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for being here.